Okay, thank you. I turn it over to the vice chair for any announcements.
Let's see. The meeting is being recorded by the recording clerk for the purpose of taking minutes. Is there anyone else present who wishes to record the meeting? Seeing none. To the attendees of the meeting, a sign-in sheet is being circulated. Board asks you please sign in to indicate your attendance at today's meeting.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
How are you?
The select board meetings can be viewed by going into the cable videos icon on the homepage of the town website. And lastly, our next select board meetings on Monday, January 26th. The board will hold a meeting at 7 p.m. The next select board work session will be held on Wednesday, January 14th. Oopsie, sorry, my computer just. At 6 p.m., please check the meeting postings on the town website for information to either join via Zoom or for the location of that particular meeting or work session.
Just checking one thing.
It's giving warnings on my laptop.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. With that, I'll open it up. If there are any citizen questions or comments not related to one of the agenda items on the meeting for tonight. Okay, hearing none. Anything to do with minutes? We have some minutes to review.
Make this quick. I'll make a motion to vote to approve the minutes of the select board meetings held on October 6th, October 15th, October 20th, November 10th, November 17th, December 1st, December 1st, December 8th, and December 15th, 2025.
Second. I have a question. Is this a record for a number of minutes in one meeting?
We'd have to go back to previous minutes to see how many minutes have been previously. All right, any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. With that, we will move on to new business. And first, I'll go to Mr. Hartunian for the first item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Select Board. Good evening, our guests, Mr. Cullen. Tonight, we get to lead off with a really special moment. It's somewhat surreal because for the last 6 years, I've been able to work with Dick Cullen, our VSO, Veteran Service Officer for here at town Topsfield, and he served in that capacity for many years prior to that. But for the last 6 years, he's been telling me he's going to retire. And it actually is coming true. So I'm personally very sad, and I know the veterans community, which came out in numbers tonight to support you, many others in this community, our team here at Town Hall, are going to miss you as well. So first, I just want to personally thank you for your friendship, your partnership, and the great work you've done for this community. It's made a difference. It has.
Thank you.
And thank you for allowing us the opportunity to celebrate you here at the Select Board meeting tonight.
I'm slightly embarrassed.
Roast, celebration, we'll see how it goes. But I've had the opportunity to meet a number of our veterans in this community, and not only have they accepted me as a member of this community and part of the leadership team here, but they constantly remind me how great you are as a VSO. So you're leaving some big shoes to fill. But we're working hard right now to try to find somebody to step in those shoes, and I know you'll be there to help along the way. But like I said a moment ago, you've made some incredible lasting impacts to many, many people. And thank you for sharing your time with us, your passion and your commitment to our veterans and to this community. Order of operations for tonight, I'm going to hand this over to the commander in a second. And then following that, the senator and the rep have some proclamations to share. And then the select board has one as well. And then if anyone else has any comments, we'll leave the floor open as well. So with that, Mr. Chair, I don't know if you want to read the proclamation.
Oh, you said we'll do that last.
Did I say this last? I'm sorry. Commander, if you wanted to say a few words.
Yes, thank you.
My name is John Cassio. I'm the current commander for Post 255. And first of all, I want to thank the committee for letting us clog up your room. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. But we wanted to do something for you as a post. And so we had a little plaque made up. I'll read it if you don't mind.
Okay.
Presented to Richard J. Cullinan in honor and appreciation of his many years of service to the American Legion as a member of the Topsfield Post 255 and his 16 years as Veteran Service Officer. We congratulate and thank you for your work and comradeship. Thank you very much. You're gonna be missed.
Speech. Speech. Well, first of all, my wife and I have been very happy with Topsfield. Topsfield's a wonderful place to raise a family, live for as long as we did, 30-odd years. It's been a great time working with the city. As back when we had commissions, my wife and I were both commissioners, director of housing, so we've been involved with the city and it's been pleasant for years. I'm overwhelmed tonight to see my friends from the Post 255. It's thank you very much for coming. It's very nice to see you. I'll see you tomorrow night. So thank you all publicly. It's 16 years, amazingly, it's just flown by quickly. Jen's been so much help to me all those years, and it doesn't seem like it's been 16 years, does it, Jen?
Definitely not.
And thank you, representatives, for coming in tonight. We really appreciate it. Feel like I should run for office.
Just run. Just run. Just run.
I have a second in command.
I think you're
But- who I take orders from. But thank you very much. It's really spectacular, I think, to see so many people here. Thank the select board. I appreciate all of you, Raphael and Michelle. Kevin, you're on your own. So, thank you.
Still have
Thank
yourself.
You know you have some more. Sally's almost here, so.
Okay, we'll go out of order. I did want to say on behalf of the board, thanks. And it's great that I actually get to speak before Bruce. Normally isn't that way, but he'll knock your socks off. I've worked with VSO Cullinan on a few different fronts, and I think the first time we met was actually through the Cub Scouts, trying to
Yes,
get little
it was.
8 and 9-year-olds to come and march in a parade and behave properly.
You did a great job.
And I've seen the dedication that he's had for his fellow veterans, and the passion to help them along the way. That's a role, I think if you're not a veteran, or if you're not on the select board or involved in one of the groups that you are helping, or you're not directly related to a veteran, there might be some folks in town who don't know the great lengths that you have gone to help the community and to how much the town owes to you for your great work. On their behalf, I will say thank you. Because Topsfield is what it is,
Much
because of its
appreciated.
volunteers, because of its officers like you who make it everything, make it the pleasant place that it is. So
Thank you very much.
thank you. We have the Achievement Award. Be it known to all that the Select Board of the Town of Topsfield do hereby recognize Richard Cullinan for his years of service as the Veteran Service Officer. On behalf of the residents of Topsfield, like I said, and the Select Board, we hereby extend our most sincere thanks to Richard Cullinan for his outstanding service and dedication to the town of Topsfield and its veterans, given this 12th day of January 2026 at Topsfield, Massachusetts by its Select Board, and it has been signed by all 5 of us. I want to point out, it was of such importance. One of our members, you might notice, is not here. It meant so much to the town that great lengths were taken to go get all 5 signatures. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, it's very nice to see it. And it didn't feel like a lot of work. It felt like something we really wanted to do, and it's been great doing it with Topsfield. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can't pick up the check.
No, don't go anywhere. You're not done.
All right, maybe I can fill up a little time till Sally gets
Do
here.
you think you can?
Is that a challenge?
Oh my gosh.
Hold my beer.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you to the town administrator and the board for including us in this commemoration of Dick's service. It means a lot to us to have the kind of partnership that we have with all of you. And the fact that tonight we can together recognize Dick is important to us, and we very much appreciate it. You know, Topsfield has always had a very strong veterans community. You can see that from the turnout here tonight from the members of the American Legion and some legendary folks in this community that have led veterans efforts over the years, including the timeless David Comeau, who is here, but also the current leadership and so many folks who are A, proud to be veterans, and B, willing to support other veterans and support the community. And so we're in a very special community when we think about that. And when we think about the VSO that serves that community, we are too very fortunate to have such a man as Dick Cullinane. You know, we pride ourselves as legislators, I'm gonna button up while this picture's being taken. We pride ourselves in Massachusetts in leading the country in veterans benefits. And we continuously legislate, we never rest on our laurels, and Dick will attest to this, we are always, including even last year, in last year's legislative session, continuing to improve the benefits and the supports that we offer for our veterans. But in that equation, veteran service officers are front and center because they are the folks that make sure what we pass into law impacts the lives of the people that we intend to help. And Massachusetts, when it comes to VSOs, also stands alone versus the other states. Because in Massachusetts, in order to be a VSO, you have to prove that you are qualified, you have to take an exam, and you have to be certified. So part of why we lead this nation is because we have people like Dick who are willing to step up to the plate, bring their knowledge, because they are veterans and they're required to be veterans, bring their knowledge of service and bring it to bear with all of the supports and benefits that we offer. And that's the defined role. The defined role is making sure that veterans have 115 benefits, that they have good medical benefits through the VA, and that they have an advocate to get those things. And the countless things that we do in terms of access to the soldiers and sailors' homes and all of the other things, those are the defined things. The undefined things are when you see Dick Cullinane working with the Scouts, or Dick Cullinane at the cemetery making sure that veterans' graves are properly marked, or Dick Cullinane on extra extended hours talking to a veteran that may be in a tough spot in their lives and helping them get through that, not in an official way, but in a peer-to-peer way. That's why we have so much to celebrate with regard to your service, Dick. Not only because you've represented the very best of VSOs in the technical sense, in the official sense, but also because Dick Cullinane has given so much of what's in here to the people that he cares about who are veterans. And so it is an honor to be able to celebrate your service as it fits into the context of veterans in this community. And I would say to your wife, thank you for letting him spend so much time doing that. I might take a little bit of an issue that she's your second in command, Dick, and I think after tonight, she's gonna get a promotion. And she is gonna be chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I'm confident of that. But it is an honor to be able to come and thank you and to recognize you, and on a personal note, tell you how much your friendship means to me and how much you've been inspirational for the legislative delegation in helping us to understand just why we do what we do. So I have a citation as well. If you, Dick, if you put this in the back window of your vehicle, it will get you out of one traffic citation in any location in the Commonwealth. But it's kind of, I don't wanna have my back to all you guys, but.
That's right. We're not-
You're gonna have your back to somebody in this room.
But Dick, this is for myself and my colleagues in the Senate. And it reads, be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Richard Dick Cullinan, Veteran Service Officer and United States Air Force veteran, in recognition of your 15 years of dedicated and committed service to the veterans in Topsfield and your service to our country. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. And this is signed by our Senate President, Karen Spilka. It's attested to by our Clerk, Michael Hurley, and I'm proud to offer it on January 12th of 2026, a night when we say to a very distinguished veteran and an outstanding veteran service officer, well done.
Thank you. Well, thank you for all of your help over the years. It's been wonderful. And you're right, Massachusetts is one of the best states for veterans. The state goes out of its way to provide services and provide representatives to every town and city in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And we all kind of feel the same. It's really not a job, it's more of a calling. It's kind of our ministry. Sam. So it was wonderful doing it. I'm a little sorry to leave, but she's lined up a whole line of jobs, small jobs for me.
Your next tour of duty is about to begin.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a real honor. And let me now turn it over to my colleagues, Representative Cairns, Representative Kasner. I've done my job here by taking up enough time to allow Representative Cairns to arrive, and I'm going to hand off the baton.
Thank you.
Threw you under the bus.
Wouldn't be the first time. Thank you. Thank you so much. I was afraid I missed it.
I wouldn't let that happen.
Yes.
I was so afraid I missed it.
Oh, thank you
I'm gonna
so
let-
much for
hi, I'm gonna
being here.
I'm gonna let my colleague, she's actually your official rep.
Yes, we're just discussing that, and it continues.
Potentially, so I don't know if you're really retiring. Anyway, I want to say just thank you for all of your advocacy to let us know about everyone here in Topsfield, and it's been so impressive, just the longevity that people that those of you in service have been staying in these positions in 16 years and in other roles, the others in post 255, and it's a real testament to show the family that you've really built here in
Yeah.
Topsfield, and thank you for introducing us to so many of you. And what really impresses me about the VSO position and your role and you is how accessible that you've been to veterans in the community, and as well as accessible to us to when we reach out to ask how things are going, and when we have bills in front of us that we can discuss, and how can we make sure that this legislation helps veterans as much as we intend for it to. So I really appreciate all of that communication and advocacy, and just want to thank you.
Well, we're all as veterans very pleased and very happy the support we get, and the support that comes from the state. It's just wonderful.
Well, we can't do it without you. So
Thank you.
with that,
Dick, I just cannot say thank you enough for always welcoming all of us to your ceremonies. You know, we all have many communities. For me, the signature special quality of Topsfield's celebration is the way you've always been very intentional about involving our students so that children will know this history, will know about service, will be aware of why we have the flag. This is such an awkward room. And
Everybody's got your back.
I guess.
Me
Thank you.
especially.
So that has always struck me and stayed with me. We'll go to the school and there'll be a get together with children. It's just beautifully done. Every single Veterans Memorial Day, all of them, and I thank you for that. And I did not know until I returned to office that Massachusetts is the number one state in taking care of veterans and the benefits that we provide. And
It is.
but as my good colleague here said, without you to disseminate the information so that people know to avail themselves of these services, we wouldn't be able to do that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's always such a joy to see you.
Well, thank you, because as you've implied, the community is really involved. And any veteran here will tell you, a veteran never serves alone. The whole family serves with them. And they really couldn't do the job as well as the services do it without the family support. So that's why when we have a service, we love to see you there. We love to give you the opportunity to speak to the citizens. We enjoy going into our schools and working in some of their programs. You've got to remember that a few years ago, it wasn't that way. So it's wonderful to see the way the communities are standing up now and getting everybody involved. That's why we love to have the kids, the scouts, the guides, and everything. It's a joy to us to work with them. So thank you again.
Well, with that, we have a citation. Do you want to start? You want to continue? The Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Richard Cullinan in recognition of, would you like to read this?
Oh, I sure would. Your retirement after 15 years of dedicated service as the Veteran Service Officer, VSO, to those in the know, for the town of Topsfield. The entire membership extends very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors, given this 12th day, January 2026, at the State House, Boston, signed by Ronald Moriano, he's the speaker, offered by Representative Kristen Kasner, your state representative, and she was nice enough to include me, the 13th Essex District, and we hope you'll have a special place for that. And
Well,
very grateful for all you.
thank you very
Very much.
much. It
Thank
was
you, my friend.
wonderful working with you.
All right, Dick, hold that up one more time. Look this way. There you go.
Bruce is doing the photography, thank you.
Outstanding. All right.
Come on in, Senator, we'll do a joint.
Oh, Kevin's gonna. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right, now to your wife.
I think this qualifies for the most cameras in one room in the history of Topsfield.
Especially this room. Thank you.
Per square foot.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't have a choice, so thank you for coming.
Everybody sign this?
Congratulations.
Yes, I believe so.
Big shoes to fill. Thank you for having
Thank you, Dick.
Oh, no, oh, there we go. I was gonna risk an entry with the right hand. You should, yeah.
Yes.
The kids are gonna be in school together.
Oh, really?
I have a 10, 7 to 5.
How are you?
Such a great picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
These are the cool kids over here, yeah.
By the way.
Dan, you want that picture?
to imply that I don't love this room. You were better with it.
I'll get a second.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dick.
A couple things out of order. We go to item D and item E, if that's okay with the board. So first up is the food waste cart grant implementation plan approval. If Mr. Hartunian is in here, or if
Here. And maybe we should shuffle everyone away from the.
yeah, if we can grab Kevin, or if he's just gonna turn it over to Zilly, I don't know.
You turn it over.
You'll probably have a preamble.
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
All right, perfect timing. We are on the what did I say? Food waste cart
D food waste.
grant implementation plan approval.
So tonight we have in front of us the food waste grant implementation plan. We also have a representative, our chair actually, from the Sustainable Advisory Committee in Independence, who wrote the grant on behalf of the town, Zilly, who can speak a little bit more about the specifics on it. As we know, we've done a lot of transition around trash and sustainability, especially in the last 6 to 8 months. And this was a continuation of our efforts to try to broaden our abilities to provide the most resources to people in this community and in a sustainable manner. It's a grant we support, we're excited for. First step in that process though, before we can accept the grant, is to write an implementation plan. And so, Zilly, I don't know, do you want to speak to some of the work you're doing, what this means, and what the details are around the grant?
Be helpful to the board?
You're here. I feel like you came
I'm
from
here.
traveling the world.
Oh,
It'd be great for you to share some of your
I
perspectives.
stayed in almost the same time zone at least, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, pretty much what Kevin just said. I'm hoping you guys had a chance to look. If you didn't, we can kind of look at it together, but ideally, if you have questions about it after having already looked at it, that'll save everybody time. But the bottom line is, it is sort of a continuation, but instead of using, like currently, we have been using RDP grant monies from the state to purchase the compost starter kits. I'll speak up, I see you. For residents who subscribe for curbside composting to help offset their trash. So this would be a dedicated funding for those carts. Not having to pull from the RDP grant money, it's a reimbursable method. So the biggest difference is that we would have to purchase like a few, what we would decide based on how we decide to do it. Purchase some, get reimbursed for that, distribute them, and then if we need to, we can purchase more up until the money of the grant is used up.
So
I was just gonna say, you might have seen that over the last 2 weeks, it's been announced Topsfield won more money through these programs than any of our surrounding communities, $18,500. Part of the reason we have to do the implementation plan approval though, is to get this specific grant, we have to have the implementation plan approved by the select board. It
Right.
was like the missing piece to get the grant that we've already won.
Yes, thank you. And the timeline on that is that I've already met with the woman who was gonna review it, so Rebecca Ferguson, I think is her name, from Mass DEP, so I've attended. They have a small working group that's specific about this grant for anyone in the state that was awarded this one. So she'll review the draft if you approve this tonight, and then we have to submit it to the state by February 15th, and then just kind of update them as we go.
And just two more things. To make non-substantive edits following approval is because the Sustainability Advisory Committee is meeting in approximately 16 hours. So we just had our timing off a little bit. So the hope is that the committee will approve it officially tomorrow, after making, like it says, non-substantive changes. I wanted to say also just thank you to Zilly and the Sustainability Advisory Committee. This is a great example, again, the town runs on volunteers. It's a lot of time and effort. Tireless efforts go into this, and it's saving us money by getting us grant money. Speaking of money, I think it's just a perfect example of how doing the sustainable thing is also the economically responsible thing. Some people think they're totally separate. They are not always. They're often the same thing. Perfect example here. With that, I'll.
So, can I make sure I understand this thing correctly? So, we're getting, if we approve this, we're getting this, the 18,500 in the DEP recycling dividends program that's in the next
So
section.
there's three separate funding streams.
Because that has 18,500.
So there's an annual grant that we apply for with DEP, which is the dividends program. We get points for all the different things that we do that qualify for points during the course of the year. We have a curbside composting program as an example.
So that is, those
That's
monies
later.
are not this.
That's $7,200 that we'll talk about later, as a separate acceptance of a grant for that particular item. This is just the implementation plan for one of the two other grants, which is the one for the, to be able to purchase the green curbside compost bins, and then distribute those to residents who sign up at no cost. The continuation of our program of people who sign up for our curbside composting program getting a free bin. Usually they cost $40. The town through this grant will be able to provide it for free.
But in reading the materials attached to E, it mentioned the 7,200, but it also mentioned $6,000 and $12,500. Are those different things than this?
So
They just happen to add up to the 18,500?
So one letter was for all of it, but there's different steps from an acceptance standpoint that we have to take formally.
Okay, so we're getting 25,500 in E, and then we have another grant that is not necessarily enumerated in D for an additional 18,500. Is that what we're saying?
No.
It's
The
not-
total is 18.5 of the three. The total of the three is 18.5. So
The-
E is 7,200.
He has mentioned 7,200 and 6,000 and 12,500, I thought.
So there's the two
Is that, am I
competitive.
right or wrong?
So it's the
Kind of.
dividend.
You're not wrong.
Not
That's
wrong.
fine.
You're not wrong.
So there's the
Progress.
So the dividends is an annual one that we apply for every year. We've received a number of years in a row. That's for 72. The 18 and change represents the two competitive grants that Zilly applied for. One is for a centralized composting collection location in town, and the second is for the bins. In order to get the bin grant, the formal step of the select board adopting a implementation plan needs to be accepted. So nuts and bolts, mechanically speaking, we have to approve the implementation plan now, if the board so chooses. And later in the meeting, we'll approve the dividend program for the 7,200. In total, if you add the 72 to the 18 and change, that's the total amount of funding that the town receives.
Okay, so the $6,000 that's mentioned in section E, that's for this
Yeah.
program that we're talking about in D.
Correct.
And that's gonna buy containers and a starter set of bags
Yes, well, it
for anybody that signs up?
effectively, yeah.
And then if it just runs rampant popularity and we use up the $6,000 and more people want them, what happens then?
That's a really ambitious thought that you have, that might be a possibility.
I think we did the math. I think we did the math on the number of bins we could buy with the money. And a significant majority of the population would have to sign up for the composting program to reach that, which would be phenomenal. But we already close at 10% are one of the leaders in the community in the state in participation from a percentage basis of residents in the program. So likely we won't use all those funds, but we'll have plenty of funds to cover us for the next 2 years. I think the window is
Yeah, this is over 2 years.
Yeah.
Cause I'm already enrolled and actively throwing out my food waste in this thing, so
Good job.
you won't need grant money from me.
Tell your neighbors.
But then afterwards, when the weekly fees or the bi-weekly fees, whatever people sign up for, do they pay those on their own?
That's still all privately direct with the customer and the hauler.
Okay,
The goal is to get us to the next price drop.
okay.
So when I filled out the grant, that's probably how they came up with the numbers, like, I put like our reach number. I don't think we're gonna get beyond that.
Okay, so the town, other than recycling the grant money after purchase of the materials, the town is not funding this additional program.
No,
Right? The taxpayers are not funding any part of this program.
Think of it more like a capital
Not through the
infusion. for
Reoccurring,
private-
the recurring subscription fee? No.
And the town's gonna buy some containers, give it to people, then be reimbursed by the grant.
The other way around, they're gonna pay for the bins, we're gonna store them, and then when people need them, we'll provide it to them, but yes, in essence.
Oh, okay, so we don't have to front the money for the grant, for the bins.
I think that these ones are reimbursable.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
So we'll make a purchase, then we'll send it back to the state. and they'll
So we
pay.
front the money for the bins, then we get reimbursed from the grant. People come get a bin and they pay on their own, and away we go. So, now, is that the way the program ran before we had this? Did people have to pay for their own bins, or did they?
No, before we used the RDP money, which is a much
Okay,
more
that's right.
flexible
All right, I remember seeing that.
account. But what's nice is since this is dedicated for this purpose, it frees up some of that money for promotional, educational materials, other initiatives.
So that's my question. So, we're basically financially offering the people the same program that's been offered for a while, which is essentially a free bin and then pay for the service yourself.
Correct.
So how are we going to, what are we doing to stimulate an additional wave of population? We essentially have the same program financially. Do we have a lot of promotional
Yeah, so that's
programs thought up, or?
what this is sort of supposed to cover, and that's tomorrow, we'll get more in the weeds with the sustainability committee, but right now, the very rough outline of a plan is to do a mailer this spring
Okay,
that's dedicated to pushing this again with like more, also like emphasizing that we already are getting a discount from Black Earth Compost for the pricing, and just like how it can improve your household waste stream, just education. And we're doing a speaker series this spring as well, like March through June. So that'll be on there. It's just, we're gonna just do as much as we can to just specifically push this.
And I would mention too, if it's okay,
Yeah.
we've negotiated tiered rates, even though we're not contractually, and we're not doing anything contractually with Black Earth. Black Earth has agreed that if Topsfield has a certain number of people sign up, the cost, that annual subscription cost goes down.
Yeah.
So if you're watching at home and you haven't signed up, sign up. It's
yeah, so
Save
those
you
of us that
money.
are already in, we're rooting for all those newcomers. So, and I imagine you're gonna do some Facebook and some other social
Right,
media
so
things.
sustainability advisory, this was sort of planned this way and with intention, so like the sustainability committee's primary goals this year was to improve our communication option, whatever tools. So we now have an Instagram account and a Facebook account. If we have something important like this that we want pushed through the town, we just tag Stephanie and she'll push it through the town as well. Green Topsfield already has about 600 followers on Facebook, so we'll repost through that channel as well. But it's nice that it comes from the Sustainability Committee. And we're partnering with the library on the speaker series, so that gives us their entire listserv as well, because they have a really good email newsletter. I'm assuming most of you probably get it. So we'll just do the whole, more is more when it comes to communicating stuff.
Absolutely.
I endorse that message.
Well, I'm happy to make a motion. We ready? But I'll note first that before this, I was not composting, but after our new trash contract, I now compost. I compost in my yard. But I am amazed, and I think I've mentioned this before, the weight of compostable items that I'm keeping out of the trash, which costs money if I put it in trash. So
I'm gonna use that as a testimonial, is that all right
yes,
with you?
you can. So I appreciate your efforts on educating us, so it helps.
Yeah, the other benefit is you know, when we were putting, food waste in the garbage, we had to wrap it up. You know, so it wouldn't spread all over and stink things up and attract animals between the time we disposed of it and the time the trash guy came. So now we don't have to do that. We don't have to put all that extra wrapping paper in the trash. So that reduces the town's tipping fees. And we create some compost, which
Right.
for those of you with
Another
gardens, that's a
testimonial.
good thing.
Thank you.
All right, with that, so I make a motion to vote to approve the food waste cart implementation plan and authorize the Sustainability Advisory Committee to make non-substantive edits following approval.
Second. Any other discussion on this? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? None. Okay.
I don't think you need me for E, right? RDP, it's pretty straightforward. I'm heading out to another thing. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
thank you for saying.
Thank you for,
So the next one is related, it's in the same grant letter, but this one we do need to accept the actual grant money. There are no additional steps that we have to take to get that money. I think as Zilly mentioned, the RDP is much more flexible. Including, as you'll remember, the stickers that we put on top of the trash barrels in the 48th hour?
The
48
recycling
hours?
stamp that talked about what can be recycled.
Exactly. So those were RDP funds that were used for this. It's about educating and increasing recycling. The only other thing to know about the RDP is it's funded in part by our trash. If you remember, it gets burned, they generate electricity, they sell the electricity, and part of those proceeds are what funds the RDP. So, full circle here. Anything else, Mr. Hartunian?
This is right around what we receive each year. We're always looking for creative ways to find more points. Some of these programs, if we implement them successfully, will allow us to actually obtain more points next year and maybe even more funds as a result. So, I'm grateful for everyone's efforts too. We got a great team that helps us. Debbie Morong, Special Project Coordinator, Sustainable Advisory Committee, many others behind the scenes who pull it all together.
Move to accept a grant from the Mass DEP Sustainable Materials Recovery Program for the town of Topsfield in the amount of $7,200.
Second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
all right,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Now, what I would like to do then is go back on our motions to item B, Common Victualers License 2026 Renewal of Osteria Pino Pizzeria.
As we all know, we had a discussion at the end of the calendar year around renewals for used car, liquor licenses, and common victual license. And all the licenses were approved, one of which was pulled for a short-term renewal in light of some conditions in the property. Osteria has received approval through the ZBA for a special permit to add an apartment underneath the main floor of the restaurant, and are working through that process right now with, I believe, our fire chief, Chief Collins Brown, building inspector, Ray Chesley. There was one item that we had to confirm, and that was that until the unit was fully permitted for occupancy, there would be no occupancy. I believe there was someone living there. We received a affidavit saying there is not anyone currently living there and will not live there until the conditions are met. And we do have Jerry from the family who owns the property and runs the restaurant here to answer any particular questions from the board. The license expires based on the period of time granted for the common vic, and associated with that is their liquor license, until the 15th of January. What's that? 13th of January. So this is our last meeting before the license, and so there's three options for the board. One, renew it to the end of the year, renew it for a smaller period of time as they're working through their permitting, or not renew the license at all.
But is it time for questions?
Yeah, I think this is a good time for questions.
Okay,
I don't have any further to add at this time. We do have the applicant here who can maybe speak to it if there are specifics.
So now that they've verified that there's nobody living there, there's no violation in the building at all. It's just up to them to get the fire requirements taken care of. So there's really no reason not, is there any reason not to approve this through December 31st?
Is anyone living in the apartment?
No.
All right, so there's no violations on site.
Well, they're still not up to code, is my understanding.
For habitating, for occupying the apartment, it's not up to code, but if there's nobody in the apartment, it's not in operation, so it's not in violation. Is what I said true, Chief?
I believe it is, yeah. I think, you said, what was your option, a smaller amount of time? Cause I think that's important. I have confidence in the contractor we've been meeting with, that there's a fire alarm system there, that no permits were pulled for, there's no licenses, none of the proper things were done. This contractor understands that needs to be done. We inspected it with him on Friday afternoon. He knows what he has to do, so I do think a shorter amount of time, just to make sure that we keep it on the forefront, that we're moving forward, and then to get it occupied as soon as all that stuff is done.
If I may, how long do you all think it'll take to get it in line?
Right now, probably 3 weeks. I mean, we're almost done already. They had asked us to put in a second door, emergency door, that's done. Like she said, they came Friday. We know now we are gonna get a new fire panel because the one that's there now is good enough for that, but they need a carbon monoxide panel. So they're gonna put in a carbon monoxide panel in. And she had asked to move some of the detectors have to be moved a little bit. That'll be done too. SOS Cunningham is doing it all for us. So 3 weeks will be complete.
6 weeks extension?
Or 30 days.
You said at the end of February. I mean, 3 weeks carries us almost into February, so if we said the end of February, that would be a little time for, you know,
Just in case.
some issue arose.
Which is also roughly 6 weeks, so,
Right.
but for ease of date, I don't know when our next scheduled meeting that falls closest around that would be.
We'll be busy in February.
Yes.
February 23rd,
And what's the next one after that?
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
So can I just have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there no risk that you have, I'm looking at Chief Collins Brown because it's related to fire. So there's no risk that you have a portion of the building that's out of compliance, that it could interfere with anything above it?
There are smoke detectors in the building, they're just not to code. And so they're not in the locations they're supposed to be. So for someone to live there, those were offices, there was a chiropractic office down there, and there was a gift basket office there. So there are protections in there, they're just not in the correct locations for a resident. So like a carbon monoxide within 10 feet of a bedroom door, smoke detector outside the sleeping area, smoke detector inside the bedroom. So it has to be brought up to today's code. So there are devices in there, they're just not in the right locations. Some of them aren't the right kinds, and if there's nobody living there, there's less of a harm to
Is the restaurant portion though is at code?
Yes, that's, there's like a, I don't know what to call it, the thing that divides them, but they're not connected by doors or anything like that.
Rising wall.
Firewall.
But it's underneath, right? The
Yeah,
apartment
it's
is
in the lower
underneath the
level.
restaurant.
So the restaurant's on the top level and it's on the lower level, so, I mean, like we said, there's no one living there. So, and there is live, it's all hardwired, so there's plenty of detectors there already. So they've always been there, and there's always been businesses there. So it's not like, and we've been with the restaurant for 8 years, and they've approved it every year where it should be, where they should be. But to have someone living there, like she said, they have to be moved.
It's a different code, yeah.
Yeah, they have to be up to code, and they have to be.
There is someone
places.
living in the apartment upstairs though, right now, correct?
No,
In that studio apartment?
yeah, well, that's me.
Okay, so there is somebody living there in the upstairs, so.
And the upstairs is up to code, the living area of the upstairs?
It will be all the way up to code, but that's been there for, that's not the new part that we're talking about.
It wasn't converted,
Mhm.
and I think it's the property zone is mixed
Right.
use. So you can have living space and commercial space there. What triggered the multiple living spaces triggered the special permit that was necessary when they built the apartment below downstairs. So
The studio is a legal apartment today. The one below is,
going through the permitting process to be legal.
okay, and the only thing outstanding is the fire concerns.
Yeah, because we've dealt with Ray already, and he asked us, we need a second exit, which
Oh,
we put
yes.
in, it's done. It does need a sign, which we're working on that too now, the exit sign, actually it should be done by now anyway. And like she said, that we have to move the detectors. We are gonna get a carbon monoxide panel, because the existing system does not handle the carbon monoxide detectors. So we have to get a second system put in. And Cunningham came in today, actually, and gave us the quote, so.
Ray has not issued a building permit.
No.
He was waiting for us to get our parts. So the fire department is not the only thing that needs to be done. I'm not sure where electrical, plumbing and all that is. But in order to get the ability for the town building inspector to issue a permit to start the work, that's already been done, but to start the work, they needed to get through us. So I can't speak to what Ray needs after this. I would not by any means say that we're all set.
I think, I feel like we've been here 3 or 4 times already. The difference, in my opinion, is that there is progress and good progress that's happening. It has been a frustrating thing that we've needed to really press the business to do this. Hopefully this is going to take care of everything and we won't be in this situation again next year. I'm fine, I guess, with whatever kind
What
of
was it,
delay,
March?
March 2nd.
Right, so to get legitimate or legal occupancy in the basement apartment, we need to take care of the fire things, and then Ray needs to issue a permit so he can inspect wiring and plumbing?
Yes, Ray will issue a permit once fire signs off on the design and the work.
I imagine Board of Health with septic too, and there's probably a lot of things.
They will go to Board of Health to look at the septic and make sure the capacity is there as well.
So all that will take some additional time, so.
I think going to the
End of February might be
through February will
optimistic.
be good for everybody.
Okay, and then I remember we went, I guess 2 other things. One is just a reminder, for the ABCC licenses, just because it's on the agenda, I did some reading, those have to be applied for in November. So it's not even a December or end of December thing, please come earlier rather than later next year. We did struggle with the language because we can't grant a license. Remind me how we did this, the extension. We can't grant a license through the end of the year. We can only, but don't licenses only go through the end of the year? Is it an extension of the existing license, or how do we do that?
I would extend the current license for another 45 days, whatever
So-
the count is,
Common
to this
vic,
date. The
right?
common vic, because the liquor is associated with the
Yep.
common vic.
Yep.
So that would, if you do wish to extend it through February, you can extend the existing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember. That's what we did as opposed to giving like a 15-day license or whatever it was.
So I just wanna make sure, so the alcohol license, we have to give for the full year, which is what we did, because that's a license from
right, right,
ABCC, so
yeah,
the
yeah.
common
Oh,
victular
common vic we
license,
can do shorter?
I think so, it's a local license,
Yeah, okay.
not a state license.
And if you don't have a common vic, then you have no
No
avenue to
alcohol
use
license.
the
Yeah.
alcohol license.
Yes.
Then the end of the year
That's what it
ceases
was.
at the moment where the
That's what
license.
it was.
I would, the license that's in play right now is, it can be extended. The existing one can be extended, cause it is an actual license that was issued.
Alright. I'm gonna move to approve the 2026 Common Victualers License Renewal for Osteria Peppino Pizzeria in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of March 3rd, 2026.
Second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, it is extended or approved through March 3rd. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me go back. We did B, read board docs.
C.
We're going to C. Board of Public Works vote to intend to lay out roadways.
Isn't it a little late for that? Aren't they already laid out? There are houses there, people live there.
One could make that assumption over the decades.
Al Wallace would be surprised that his road is not legal, but.
There are a number that are surprised.
All right, do I turn it over to Kevin or to Gary?
I can do a real quick primer.
Yeah.
So this is just the acceptance of roads. First time we've gone through this process, and so Superintendent Wilds will lead the conversation, as he's been very intimately involved in learning, or I should say, of understanding what the steps necessary to accept a road. But this is the first step. Ultimately, it ends by going on the warrant and being approved. So,
So really, these 8 streets, if you will, are under consideration. These are the ones that had just never been the loose ends tied up. People are paying taxes, but now that we have a state-of-the-art Mass DOT Grant Central portal, they know everything, and they know what roads have been accepted and what are not.
You're welcome.
The reason behind this whole thing
I don't know if
is
that's
that
a you're
you
welcome.
can no longer submit roadways. In the past, if you submitted, if you had enough money in your account, they would just give you the funding for your roadways, assuming the towns had accepted these roadways. That was not the case. Now they know definitively what is and what is not, which means there are unrealized funds to the tune of $25,000-ish a year for 18 roads that have never been accepted.
That much.
It's about $895,000 we haven't realized in the last 30 or 40 years. So it can't continue. We have residents that are rightly so upset because we cannot, and we do not have our operating budget enough to take care of these roadways. They're paying their taxes, and deservedly so. I get it, and I've concurred quite a bit of the wrath, and says, look, I'm trying to solve this, that it just has not. The biggest hurdle was, how can we do this without incurring greater costs that we don't have? And meet what would be the legal threshold through Chapter 82, Section 23, which is street acceptance, and meet the subdivision guidelines for right-of-ways and or lengths and widths, which is meets and bounds. We've been able to get this down, but we're not having to spend that kind of money, thank God. We don't have it. I've met a couple of times, we've talked with KP Law in regarding this, and the planning board. They are aware of this, and they're in favor of everything we've done in the last 2 years trying to get to this point. It's important that we get it pushed through this year. The reason I say that is because if we get it to town meeting, I can't imagine anybody saying, because you could all put, myself included, if mine wasn't where I live, I would not say no to that. Absolutely, you want to vote that through. It was something that shouldn't have happened. It did. We're just trying to correct it for everybody now. But the 10 that we just submitted 13 months ago, we went into the portal with the documentation that had been accepted but never submitted. It took 13 minutes to get approved. There was
4,500 streets.
Minutes?
Months.
13 months, I'm sorry, to get approved. There was 4,500 streets in the queue ahead of us to be accepted, that the state is working on. I know of a town just not too far from here has 145 unaccepted streets. Their plan right now is to accept 7 to 10 each year and hire a consulting firm to get them over the finish line. I don't know that many roads, if you do the math, how far out in 20 years, but some of those roads are probably gonna need to get paved before then, but they can't get their funding. So the whole idea with this, when we sat down and talked to Kevin, we realized is, how do we get this without incurring another cost that we just can't afford? So get this to the end finally.
I just want to say to that end, Mr. Wilds and his team have done incredible work.
As always.
It's been a significant amount of time because I've sat in the meetings, many of them, and they've going through for the first time. It was pretty eye opening. The amount of steps necessary that have to be done correctly and in order. The team's done a great job. The team's done a great job. And yes, he had a couple times, but we held him back up and we kept moving forward.
I remember your spreadsheet, it rivals the omnibus.
Thanks.
So,
Sorry.
make sure I understand the process. If we vote to lay these out tonight, then the designs go to the planning board and they say
Yes.
that meets our standards,
So what they
in
will do,
essence,
yeah,
and then
is
it goes to
a,
town meeting?
this is very similar, I think they were just here in front of you for Riverwood Estates on Perkins Road and Ruby Way. It is similar to that, the only difference is that is, for all intents and purposes, a brand new subdivision. These, some of which go 100 years back and or some are 30 years. So it's, all of these are all over the map. But it would go to them for a referral. They will write the report, which will then come back to here. And then what we would do then is I will set up an appointment to, and what they call, literally lay these roads out where I have a PowerPoint to put on the screen. We will show you each map and street. Some of you may or may not know them. You can ask me, Boyd would be one that knows them. I do, just because I grew up here, and I can tell you in all certainty, that is the road we're talking about. And then that is the threshold of laying it out.
So
And
it's
then you
us
can
tonight, planning board, back to us, then to town meeting.
So we would have to, the only problem with when it comes back to be laid out, it's not a problem. We have to have a public hearing and post it, which will be an advertisement for that, for people to come in case they want to question it. Once that happens and we lay that out and you vote, then it goes to town meeting for the approval. There's another bucket of that we never got to, and I know in that spreadsheet, which was the stuff that is county layout stuff. Thankfully, we didn't have to get to that. Those are all accepted because the state recognizes those, because they were laid out, some of which I have from the 1700s, but they are documented as county layouts and we are required. That was a huge help when we finally figured that out, that we could set that piece aside and just focus on the ones that were accepted but not submitted, and then these 8 right now that we need to get in because 2 of them are in dire need of funding.
Go ahead, Marshall.
I know we talked about this whenever it was, last year. Are there any roads that don't meet the standards to be accepted roads that are in our pipeline? So when you ask me, meet the standards. Well, I mean, as I recall, they're, width, depth of curbing, whatever it is, that those standards are. In those conversations, we've had multiples with these, and I've been on a first name basis now with Lee from KP Law regarding this and trying to get through it. That is where we work to the legal. There's 2 standards. There's the subdivision rules and regulations, section 6, the geometric table, and it goes to, we have 3 types of roads, 2 of which are minor but the right of way is 50 and 60 depending on your roadway width. And then there is the major collector, which would be like an Alderbrook, where it's a larger road and it's a through street. All that has to do with what the right of way is. We're presently it's probably the wrong word, as this goes and lead, there's a 17 point outline I think we had given to you before, it might have been a while ago. 4 of which we have to do, the rest is KP. But part of that is deciding, are we taking the full right of way or from curb
back of curb to back of sidewalk. Cause we need to we're required to maintain it, but we can't get the funding from the state unless it's accepted, and we have a minimal amount that we're working with right now in our operating budget. And so we need to it's just one of those, it cannot go any longer. We have to solve this now. We think we've come up with that standard that we'll meet. Most of the maps I have are already in the registry of deeds, which is part of the standard. That by law, they have to meet that to be able to go forward after town meeting to be certified, once it's voted on. MassDOT, all they wanna see is a certification that the town approved them. But we still wanna get the whole thing through. At worst case, we would submit these 8 once it's voted on, if it's all in one, if we have to separate them out, however it goes. Then Beth can do her notarization, we can then get it right in the portal, get those submitted. I think they're doing much quicker, I think it got caught up. But there are, I don't know how many communities throughout the Commonwealth, now they're all the same thing, the realizations come in. They won't give us the funding, where do we come up with it? Now they're all scrambling. Some of which have, like I say, I think it's Drake, the one I mentioned, they're hiring a consulting firm. Ipswich did this a couple of years ago. It was a lot of money. So I think we've been able to dodge a bullet in.
How many will be left over after these 8?
Done.
This is it?
This is it.
We gotta get a cake.
Yeah. At minimum, let's make a motion.
Great idea.
I vote to intend to lay out Hickory Lane, Beach Place, Evergreen Lane, Pemberton Road, Aaron Drive, Pheasant Lane, School Avenue, and Deer Run in preparation for road acceptance at the Topsfield 2026 annual town meeting.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? Just one thing, obviously, thank you.
Thank you.
I had 2 little clips about Beach Street versus Beach Place, and you guys got that fixed in the last 18 hours?
I know, so
am
I have to tell you
impressed.
this. I told Sam this earlier today. My predecessor, who needs a hobby, watching right now, he found it on there today from Florida. Texted
Dave Bond?
He goes, yes, and said, you might wanna check that, I'm pretty sure it's Beach Place.
Well, that one wasn't gonna slip on you.
Oh, God.
So good job,
I'm
beat me
like,
to it.
you need help, sir.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank
that
you.
brings us to item F. Now we are back in order.
Thank you, Gary.
See you later. Hood Pond.
Says Hood.
2026 renewal. I'll turn that over to Kevin.
So we have an annual license agreement that we have with the Hood Pond Association, who runs the property, collect funds, make improvements, and in essence manage the managers for the facilities. It's a long-standing agreement. As for this agreement this year, there's no changes other than the dates, moving it forward. I know I did have a conversation. They are considering doing some fundraising to make some additional improvements to the facilities, which sounds exciting. We're looking for those conversations with the leadership. But it's a very straightforward contract, one we've done in the past.
Apropos of nothing, I will share that I went swimming in a hole cut through the ice of Hood's Pond on New Year's Day. Well, there was a sauna. You sat in the sauna, then you walked barefoot through the snow across the ice through the hole that they chainsawed through the ice. I was in there for a good 3 to 7 seconds, so before getting out and hustling back to the sauna. But
Maybe you do need a head MRI.
yeah, maybe. But it was good icing for the shoulder before it was injured.
Can we make any changes to the contract?
They already signed.
They already signed? Okay, can we make a note to change for next year? Because it says they have to give keys to the park and cemetery department.
Well, that's a subdivision within the DPW, so.
Oh, it is? It still
I was
exists
gonna
like
say,
that?
the commission and the department are 2 different things.
Okay,
Park and
great.
cemetery still exists as a department.
It's in the budget.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And thank you all
So
for
no note for
park
next year.
and cemetery. Everyone always wants to pluralize capitalize both those words.
We have more than one park now.
Last commissioners left it in a good place.
Thank you.
Okay,
Move to approve an agreement between the town of Topsfield and the Topsfield Beach Association for the purpose of beach activities at Hood's Pond for a term of one year ending December 31, 2026.
Second.
Any other discussion? Other than whether there's an S at the end.
I'm
of it.
just looking in the different spots here.
Depends on where you look, they're all different.
Well-
I wanted to make sure I hit everyone's
Yeah, exactly.
reference.
Since we're in the discussion phase, I'll remind you that when we were putting up those nice signs, wayfinding signs, we had to do a quick dive into whether it was Hood apostrophe S, or Hood no apostrophe. And I found one map that had one name for the pond, one name for the beach, and one name for the whole thing, all on one map. So we reverted to whatever the state referred to it as, which I think is just Hood. Hood.
And we're just pulling your chain anyways. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
I will also add that they, like every other group, are in desperate need of more volunteers. So if anyone out there is thinking, I want to spend some time volunteering at the pond year-round now, they would be happy to hear from you.
And that membership, I understand, is worth more than $1, so might be a better
There you
return.
go.
Are we going with the S or no S for the minute?
The state has it as no S, just Hood.
And that's what's on the contract too. so-
Okay.
And that's what's on the big sign that we put out front, so.
So we are determining the truth right here,
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, because I just copy and paste everything from last year, so this is good, it's gonna be Hood next year.
It is. Excellent.
We're recreating the truth.
I'm still gonna call it Hoods, just for the record.
Alright, you can make those edits then.
Yeah, decades and decades of use.
Tell me you grew up in Topsfield.
Yeah, it's the whole
No, tell me you grew up in
crane
Topsfield.
scheme thing, right? People put S and take off S's there.
All right, moving on to item G, local licensing authority, the 2025 annual report to the ABCC.
Alright, I can speak on that. This is an annual report, it's just housekeeping showing exactly how much revenue the town has generated and how many licenses the town has awarded for 2025. This is a template that comes from the state.
And the answer is dollars and how many?
So we have 6 licenses and we received a total of 7,700.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve Topsfield's 2025 annual report to be sent to the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
Second.
I was trying to remember the three on when we just did this. The Commons, Evermore and Pierce Farm is not one of them.
Nope.
Who are the other two? Oh,
Willowdale
Willowdale.
and Coolidge Hall.
There we go. Thank you. And Essex County Brewing, as well as Evermore, is not quite ready for this year's report,
No,
essentially.
no.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great work. And sticking with the theme of alcohol, we'll move to item H, liquor licenses renewal certification for 2026.
So this is just a document that everyone needs to sign saying that all licenses were approved for this upcoming year to ABCC. If there were any licenses that the select board chose not to renew, this is when it would get put on.
So it's almost like approving that we have not rejected anyone.
Yes. Or we have sent this with a failure to renew 2 years ago with Alfalfa Farms because they chose not to renew their license.
right.
That's also reflected in this document.
So everybody that applied got renewed.
Move to approve Topsfield's 2026 renewal certification to be sent to the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
Second. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? All right, and that brings us to our favorite recurring item for discussion. Item I, annual town meeting. Oh no, this is actually different.
Yeah.
Annual town meeting warrant. We need to open the warrant which is when folks can bring in citizen petitions, and then close the warrant as well. Anything else we need to know about that?
So per the schedule this year, we're looking to open it as of tomorrow. And we would look to close it on February 9th, Monday, February 9th at 12 p.m. Unless there's any suggestions or changes. The schedule follows how the order of operations going from our budget, going into our conversations with KP Law, and finalizing the different elements. So timing's important, but if the board wanted, there could be conversation for flexibility, but those were the proposed dates.
I'm sorry, what was the end date?
The 9th of February.
9th of February, okay, thanks.
Pretty much a full month, almost a full month,
It's not quite a full month.
almost, but yes, not quite.
Any other discussion? Or any
I was
discussion?
gonna say, there's no
Any
motion
discussion.
yet.
Get
Move
ahead
to
of myself.
open town warrant for the 2026 annual town meeting to be held on Tuesday, May 5th, 2026, and to close the town warrant on Monday, February 9th, 2026 at 12 p.m. noon.
Eastern time.
And any seconds? I'll second it. Sure. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Now we move on to the evergreen item, the town meeting warrant and budget.
May I ask a question before you begin?
Yes, please.
Just to level set expectations, do we have a goal of what we're trying to do tonight?
So I'm just gonna introduce the budget, but not necessarily answer any high level questions you might have or receive questions and give answers after we do some more work if I don't have it at my fingertips. But it's mostly just to introduce the budget that technically submitted to you all before the weekend, but which is up on board docs for the public to be able to see.
So tonight is not the time to go line by line and ask questions about specific items.
So yeah, so the opportunity will be over the course of the next month,
Yes.
where we'll have a number of meetings. I believe the 14th, the 21st, 28th, and February 2nd will be the 4 meetings that we're going to be discussing line by line with the department heads, their budgets. This Wednesday in 2 days, we'll be having the Veteran Service Officer, Fire Department, Police Department, and the Assessor's Office. On the 21st, we'll be looking at the DPW, both water, highway, and park and cemetery. The 28th, we'll have the library, the town administrator, planning and zoning. And on the 2nd, we'll be looking at the clerk's office, accounting, conservation, health, council on aging, and treasurers. I did speak prior to tonight's meeting earlier today with the chair of the finance committee. We went over their schedule as well because there is this year a little bit of an overlap. And we were able to put together a schedule where our departments will be able to meet with you all prior to meeting with the FinCom and making sure any larger budgetary department that we try to do after our last meeting and we solidify our budget. Just by way of update, as we go through our process and our meetings with the department heads, the first week of February we'll look to vote a next version of the Omnibus 2, which will then be picked up by the Finance Committee for their review as well. It's going to be a difficult year, driven primarily from health insurance, pensions, and some of the other statutorily obligated budgetary line items. We've seen almost $1 million last 3 years in health insurance increases that we've been able to absorb in creative ways, finding new revenue, cutting our budget, et cetera. And as well as pensions, which have gone close to $300,000 the last 3 years as well. Those are our biggest drivers. We anticipate similar this year. But through that, you'll notice the budget is, in essence, a level service budget. There is contractual obligations where we've made those increases, as well as conversations around how to find the most efficiencies within our budget and our departments. And by those efficiencies, hopefully reflective in potential savings in some line items to offset increased costs. But there's a lot of really important hard work ahead of us. But we have a great team working behind the scenes, working in front of the scenes, and working with the finance committee over the next couple of months will be exciting.
Couple questions from my end. Speaking of in front of the scenes, are we going to have the budget open house like you did last year?
We will, and the budget open house is scheduled for.
So yeah, it is.
It is.
scheduled.
It's on
Okay.
the schedule.
And then along those same lines, can we just make sure Stephanie's pushing this again? People talk about budget every year. We don't have enough information. We don't know. Like, this is the time. Start paying attention. If all you care about is budget, now is the time. Can we just make sure there's a very concerted push of information? And I don't know how to do that other than social and town website and all our
Yeah,
meetings.
and the town website, we just recently updated the town meeting schedule and topics, maybe for this year, that maybe that's a place to put some budget review opportunities for the citizens as well.
Yeah, well, typically what we have done, and any and all suggestions are welcome to get in front of as many people as possible. We'll do the budget open house. Usually we have about a dozen or so people, which is great. That happens during our first stage of the process. Then all those meetings I referenced a few minutes ago are available. They're public. We hope people will come and listen and join us for the discussions. And then obviously the finance committee meetings as well are available for the public to join us. There's the listening sessions that the select board has on the Saturday mornings, where people can join us if that's more better fit for their time. And then my office hours are available, but people are welcome anytime to stop by and ask any questions as you go through the process as well. But as for pushing that information out, it's the typical vehicles, it's the website, it's the social media, and it's really trying to, when people do self-identify, making sure you make the time to work with them, listen to them, and have the discussions that we owe to them.
So it's the usual channels. Let's just make sure we're pressing hard on them as hard as we can.
We'll do some videos this year too, maybe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Of come join us. Videos do sometimes grab a lot of people's
And I
attention, so.
noticed there is no above guidelines tab still being worked on, or we're not
No,
gonna have
it's-
anything above guidelines.
It's the little dip. So the above guidelines historically has been a line by line representation of what's gone up. I have to peek at the first version to just check how it's being presented.
If the guideline is 2.25%, there's, right?
A lot's over guideline.
There's a
and-
lot of them.
We have it's our budget, I mean, totals are probably at this point for tonight, we were given a guideline at 2.25%. That includes our pension costs associated, our debt costs, all the things that some school and town, but mostly the town as well. We were given a guideline 2.25. That represents about $275,000. This represents in the first round $290,000 in addition to that. Then of that 290, almost exactly half of that is made up of pension obligations of 145. As well as, like I mentioned, there's debt also baked in there. So it's level service.
Is it being it's going to be there or it's not going to be there? I'm confused.
So can I take a look at? I gave Michelle my copy earlier today.
Over guidelines tab.
There was a tab last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before that said the police department needs new computers or HVAC or it was all operating budget related, and said here's why we're asking more than guidelines.
So it's a separate
It was a
Excel
different tab.
page. There was a list of things.
Yeah.
Not on the omnibus.
Not on the omnibus.
It was in the omnibus.
It was within the tabs, but not on this document here.
Not on that sheet
I hear
in
you.
the workbook.
In the Excel
Separate
workbook, in the separate
tab
page
in the
saying,
workbook.
you know,
Yeah.
saying this is over and this is why.
I'm just trying to figure out if we're gonna be tackling these things the same way that we've done the last few years or not.
Finance committee guidelines historically up until last year said that it was a zero-based budget, and everything above that was above guidelines. And so what we had historically done is broken out above guidelines based on those criteria. Now it's a flat percentage that they provided to us. And so rather than putting in above guideline tabs, what we've
That tab.
Yeah, but that's last year's,
It
right?
is, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm just saying.
exactly.
Example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And things we can avoid, things we don't want to avoid, things to consider. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that document was created based on, easiest way to explain it, old guidelines from the finance committee. So they said anything above guideline, you need to explain what that is. We've operated a little bit different because the guidelines is a blanket 2.25%. So you, in essence, anything above that first 275, we could break it out into the contractual obligations, costs associated with it versus everything else, or contract and debt.
Well, contractual obligation would be a reason, right? It wouldn't be a separate category.
Well, the way they broke it out is there's 4 categories. It's been a couple of years since we've used it, so I'd have to either look at Michelle's
It was just last year.
laptop.
And the year before.
Yeah, I can get
I just don't have it in front of me because we didn't.
And is it at the department total level, or is it at line item, or is it a salary?
It was line item.
By line
It
item.
was basically anything that was new money you needed to incorporate in your operating budget. We broke it out into 4 categories. The first was over guideline unclassified changes. That's the end of the budget. That's the pensions. That's the health insurance.
Yeah.
That's the debt. Then there was contractual, which is you have like the munis contracts up and there's a 4% escalator. That would represent the 4%. Those are uncontrollable, and those are uncontrollable costs. And then there was the additional funds needed, so existing services, line items in the budget where you're adding additional funds, whether it was you needed to add 2 hours to a position or you needed more postage. It's not a contractual obligation, but you might need more postage. And then the last was new government. I think they referred to as new items. So if you added a new position or a new line item within the operating budget, you would identify it that way.
Kevin, I think Amanda may have taken away that and added into the note section of the omnibus budget. It shows.
This is the larger one though?
Yep, if you look at the note section.
Alright, so TBD. No
Yeah, I
problem.
did see some notes.
So yeah, there are notes, we always had notes too, where we put some sort of dialogue. It doesn't get into the level of detail that that particular tab used to have, where you'd explain what the additional cost was, but if the board would like to see that, I can certainly try to pull that together in short order.
Well, last year we went through and those were the levers we had to adjust the budget. Those were the first levers we had to adjust the budget.
So those just basically gave what's in the omnibus in one, rather than being all 400 and something line items in the operating budget. It just basically broke it down to the couple dozen that had additional funding needs to it. It just in essence, it consolidated and gave a little bit more of an explanation to what the cost was for or associated with.
Okay.
If the board would like it, we can certainly bring it back.
I'm happy to talk about it in any which way. I was just trying to figure out, just like you copied everything, I've copied everything that I did last year, and it was like, this is missing.
We can fix that if you like. It's a useful. It's a little. We moved away from it because it's a little less relevant now that the guidelines have changed. Before they wanted to see everything that in a separate document that showed what went up because the guidelines were 0% increase. But now that it was a flat increase of 2.25%, we strive to get there at the end of the day. But it's with health insurance and pensions, it'll be difficult this year. But we're gonna do everything we can to try to.
Okay, and then the only other thing that I had was the accounting department. I didn't see on the schedule.
Oh, she's coming on Monday, February 2nd, sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think high level, right, we're not diving into the numbers right now, but high level on process or anything.
We will meet jointly with FinCom for a couple meetings at the end of this process. I assume that's planned as well.
Be the intentions, yes. And I'll say if you take out the uncontrollable items as well, budget represents about 3.34% increase year over year.
Say that again, if you take out
The uncontrollables, so like debt, pension, health insurance, it's about 3.34%.
You have 4.09 on here.
It is 4.09, but you have to redo the math. Sorry, if health insurance is not part of the guideline, so that's taken out. And then if
it's got a different guideline.
If you health insurance was pulled out, so you have the schools, town, and health insurance for the town and the schools as a separate line item.
And then you took out pension too, and you get to the 4.09.
And debt.
So when does it look like the?
Oh, I see, the 3.39, okay.
3.39.
When does it look like the school budgets are gonna?
So they're expecting to have their final budget on 2/9.
That's elementary.
Elementary, and right now 3/15 or 3/16, March 15th or 16th for Masco. But my understanding is the school committee, after multiple requests from the finance committee, has said that they will do their best to try to get the budget to them sooner, because that's a big item for the finance committee and us, is to try to get that information as soon as possible. We're the first of the 3 tri-town communities to go. So statutorily, they have to get it to us by a certain date. And they get that to us and the other 2 communities, but they go a week or 2 after us, so they have another week or 2 to work with it. Doesn't mean that it prohibits them from getting it to us sooner. So we're trying to work with them to see if we can get that sooner.
Yeah, FinCom specifically asked, pretty please, give us even another week.
So elementary, February 9th?
That's what I just heard in the finance committee meeting before I came down here.
And what was the date for Masco, say 3/15?
3/15 or 3/16.
And what's the drop dead date, cause we talked about this in one of the meetings and I forget.
Yeah, it was the same one.
What was the drop dead date for us to get that budget from Masco? Does anyone remember?
The drop dead date.
Right, for them to give us, we talked about the deadline and backing it up, we just talked about it, the week.
Yep, that's what they were asking.
So
In order to go to print.
3/15 gives us that 1 week buffer, is that what we're saying?
We have 2 weeks before we go to print. We'll receive it 2 weeks before we go to print, but there's gonna likely be, knowing that the enrollment shift's not gonna be in our favor,
Right.
that we're 0.25% below the other 2 towns in the guideline, and that operationally, we're expecting that their E&D plus their just general operations going up, that there's gonna be a lot of discussions on costs / overrides from Masco.
And the
Debt as well.
and their capital project articles.
Yes.
When are those coming? The same day?
So we expect there'll be a capital article relevant to the debt taking. OPM likely, I think, is gonna be what we see in the ATM. But based on their time, because my understanding is they have gotten into the queue for MSBA, it sounds like in my last conversation a few weeks ago with the administration that they're targeting an STM in the fall, special town meeting, where they'll ask for the
big one.
The larger comprehensive request.
God,
So-
does that mean that we have to have an extra 5,000 in here for an STM?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
They haven't
We have a
firmed it up.
FinCom
1,000
reserve.
each, we're all set. We'll just throw that in there.
We have a FinCom
Boyd's
reserve.
not here, I vote
right?
Boyd to pay for it. What's that?
We have a FinCom reserve,
Yep.
which has never really been fully used.
The town, and it's later, we can always use the town administrators, or select board town administrators, consultant line item if we needed to as an STM transfer to cover the cost. If it can't be absorbed in the clerk's budget, which is typically where the cost for ATMs
I
go.
like the idea of using the FinCom.
I do too.
It's only 5,000 to have an STM?
Estimated cost for an ATM is about $5,000. That includes the printing, that includes the mailing, that includes the workers.
And
The rental.
isn't there a ballot component to a debt?
Yes.
So that's part of that cost as well.
Yeah, so there'll be the printing cost for the warrant itself, that's to be distributed townwide. There'll be the ballot as well, for the override questions.
Staffing and election day.
It could be a little bit more actually than that with the election on the back end of it. The warrant, we estimate at 8, at town meeting will be about 5, and election might be another 5 on top of that.
But we have a state and federal election already, right? Could we piggyback on that? We should.
Good idea.
I've not, I don't know if we can, only because I'd have to check if we can modify the ballot. Because typically override questions happen at a local election. After town meeting, and it's the questions for who's elected. If it's a state or
let's check with
federal,
Beth.
it's, if we get there, that's certainly a question we'll ask.
Or even if it's 2 separate ballots, but it's the same day,
Can
you're
vote the
paying
same day,
poll
just have
workers
it.
once and.
It's a great idea. I think those logistics we'll have to
The
figure out.
primary, I believe, is in September with obviously the general in November. So if they're talking about fall.
They'll probably pick October.
Because it's Masco, of course they would.
And then stealing his question about joint meeting with FinCom.
Yes.
Are we gonna have these joint meetings with the elementary school that we've had before?
Oh, we certainly can. I know the elementary school's been very present at all the FinCom meetings. They were on electronically earlier today.
I think one of our meetings last year was all 3 of us actually
Early.
gavelled in.
I think they are coming to the finance committee on 2/9. Maybe there's an opportunity to present their budget. Maybe there's an opportunity to have a conversation.
Do we have a meeting on 2/9 already scheduled?
Yes, we do.
We'll be...
Because I remember a few years ago, we had a joint 3-way, but the select board had to leave after like 40 minutes to go do our own meeting, which felt like it would have been better if we didn't.
That was the one in the elementary school.
You had to swear in the town accountant.
Oh yeah. I can speak with Chair Elwell and find out if, based on his schedule, if the 9th makes sense. Do you believe the schools might be coming in even sooner than that? I think they're coming in 26th. It's on there.
I've found them very helpful. The more communication, the better.
Elementary right there. 2/9.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, great.
Yeah, so just in summary on the budget, represent a significant amount of work for the team. Grateful for all their efforts, their thoughtfulness, their conversations with myself and the town accountant. Appreciate the finance committee, been engaging with them more recently, more often around the budget preparation, and now that it's out as well. I will say there's a lot of overlap with our meetings and their meetings this January, unfortunately, so Amanda will be representing us upstairs during their conversations while I'm down here. But any meeting where we're not conflicted, I'll be present up there. And it should be a interesting year. Got a lot of work ahead of us, but good work, and I appreciate the select board's support as we go through it all.
Alright. More questions on the omnibus? High level, budget? Should we go to warrant? Anything?
Updated and sent out an updated version on Thursday of the warrant. There's already a couple more tweaks I need to make, as it's a living document a lot at this time of year. But it should incorporate all the changes that we talked about in that last former work session. And again, the yellow sections are placeholders. And towards the end, articles 45th or 44th through 49th are really MGL related or very, very nuanced articles where there's already crafted language that we usually import from KP that we'll be working on. Sam and I are working on a meeting with them to go over the warrant in its state with Lauren Goldberg. But it's in a good place, relatively speaking, and I know that it was very helpful in our last work session, being able to discuss these articles, make sure the board was on board with them, so we're making good progress for sure. I would say that the couple things I'll mention on this, I added in the downtown parking article as a placeholder, have not had an opportunity to speak with the planning board or zoning board of appeals yet, but it's there for discussion. And then had some conversations with the accountant around our auditors around a pension stabilization fund and the potential of creating one of those as well. Pensions are one of the two drivers that are recently that are driving up our operating budget, and it was a suggestion that that's something that a lot of communities have looked at. So although we haven't discussed it, it's something more recently that was put on. And
how does that work? You've put a draft on the warrant?
I haven't touched it yet. This is since I sent this on Thursday. Literally, I sent it, and then I think the next day I had a conversation with the auditors, and we were talking about, just best practices as we're thinking about going out to debt. And this is something they suggested that some communities have incorporated, because when the bond agencies look at the biggest liabilities, and pensions being one of them, having created and funding at some level that account is seen favorable.
The stabilization funds we have is basically a pre-funded, unearmarked account that's available for surprise problems or large projects in the future.
Or flatten the curve.
But the pension payments are by themselves kind of pre-funded accounts, because it's an actuarial present value of how much you think you need to, how much you gotta contribute to hit the cash flows in the future. So it's already a pre-funding type vehicle, which is pretty substantial. So I don't know if we'd have enough room to make another, essentially, another pension contribution above what we've gotta do just for, our required funding. So I guess I don't know how it works.
It's worth exploring. I think when our auditors tell us this is something that other communities have done successfully, it's worth looking at it. Like I said, I literally found out at the tail end of the last week, haven't had a chance to dive into it. Mention it verbally, it's not in here. Need to do some more exploration with it. But if it positions ourselves even better from a financial prudence, I would certainly want to consider it. And if we did it for this town meeting, it would be ready for when we go out to debt, when the bond agencies look at how we're doing. So
we're already AAA status, right?
Yeah, we can only go down.
Yeah, so
we don't want to avoid that.
So we don't need any drastic improvements.
Since the last time we took debt in 19, though, I mean, the world's changed a little bit, and some of these obligations are significant. And so they look at it relatively the same way, but sometimes with a little bit more relativity around what's going on. Again, I'm not saying. I think if we stay static, doesn't necessarily help us, doesn't necessarily hurt us. But if you look at 7 years later where we are and what we need to consider based on what the professionals are telling us, if there's certain things people are doing to put themselves in the best possible position, definitely want to at least have those conversations.
Okay, so we don't really know what it is yet, so it's kind of fruitless.
I just wanted to mention it, so you guys we're talking about it.
All right. Anything else on those? Ready to hit the ground running on Wednesday then? That leads.
Drink lots of coffee.
But then you have to pee.
Lots of breaks.
That leads us to the select board updates. Let's go with Mr. Hook.
I've none.
Mr. Metz.
I don't really have it.
Ms. Mercier Link.
I just had a couple. I just wanted to say, first of all, I attended the play that was at the Glue Barn this weekend. That was, I think, sponsored by the Historical Society and put on by, get the name of the group. I should know this.
Bremen Group?
Something Beast, right?
Yes.
Imagine Beast.
Imaginary Beasts. It was wonderful. It was the last year they had one upstairs. This one, that's obviously a bigger room. This one was at the Glue Barn, and it was much more intimate, and they did such a great job. It was so fun. It was really wonderful. So I look forward. I guess next year is 20 years for them, so they're going to put together some sort of 20-year play, which will be great. And then the other one, I just wanted to say, congratulations to the police, they had their, we haven't had a meeting since then, I could announce this, but, they had their New Year's Eve run, and they
Alright.
raised over, $4,000 for Copline, so, well done.
Wow. How long a run was it?
It's a 5K, and we're all invited to,
And it's at midnight or something,
it's
isn't
at
it?
midnight, and every
Jeez.
year I say I'm gonna do it, and then,
How have I never heard of this before?
well, next year, this year, 12/31 or 26.
Yeah, this year.
I did a mile run
Although it's at
on
midnight,
New
so
Year's Day,
technically-
so I could do this at midnight, then a few hours later do a mile?
So technically it's next year.
Like,
It's
I-
at midnight.
Oh, you're right, it's next year,
Yeah.
but yes, nice job.
Well, I did have one thing actually, it's really kind of.
You already missed your chance.
It's true, but. I've
Wait,
done
are
this
you,
before.
are you,
I'm
do you
done,
have a,
thank you.
okay, we can go back to you.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
You're good.
It's kind of a small thing, but we had a resident who asked for the dead flowers, dead from the winter kill in the kettles down by the intersection of Park Street, Grove Street, and Main Street. She asked that those be trimmed out and taken out since they were kind of dead and flopping. And Gary, I presume it's Gary and his team did it. So thank you to Gary and his team on behalf of the resident that requested it.
Couple things, folks didn't see, there was a federal budget that just quietly passed the House. I'm not sure if it's gotten through the Senate yet, but it includes a $1.1 million earmark for Topsfield. This is the water earmark that we were talking about a year ago, 2 years ago. Sorry, I stole his thunder.
That's fine, cause his thunder takes longer than yours.
So it specifically lists a lot of the things that we've actually already paid for, so we can figure that out, but that's $1.1 million from the federal government if that goes through. Also, on Sunday, there was a vigil for our country held on the town common. I'd say it was really good turnout. I certainly appreciate the efforts by the police and fire departments and town hall, making sure that it was run as smoothly as possible. They didn't organize it, but you could see that the police were there making sure everything was cool and safe, and there were no agitators, which was one of my concerns, that there would be some agitators coming in from out of town. And there were none. It was a great event. All right, over to the TA's report, please.
Been working closely lately with Essex Tech, both the superintendent as well as some of the other member communities. There's some discussions this year. There's going to be a lottery at Essex Tech versus merit-based enrollment, and that's something that the state's mandating, how selection takes place. It spurred some conversations with the large communities about the prorations of enrollment and what the target number should be. We're involved in that. We're keeping a close eye on it and seeing what the impacts of the conversations would have for the community and for the school overall. But no real news to report other than just something to keep an eye on. We've also received back the road safety audit for the intersection. The first draft, it goes back and forth between the town and the engineers before it's finalized. I am pulling a meeting together with the public safety team that includes the fire chief, police chief, and Gary Wilds to kind of see what their perspective is on some of the preliminary recommendations look like. Once we've met and the report gets a little more finalized, certainly going to bring it back for the select board and all of us to discuss and look at some of the prioritization of what they're recommending, if anything. We are also going to be meeting and reigniting the conversations with the group that helped us with the 375 celebration to talk about 400 now that we're in the 400th anniversary of our country. We've talked about incorporating some of the themes around 400 in some of the existing events and maybe an event or two added. But those are preliminary discussions. We're going to get back together and start mapping out what that might look like for this year.
Did I just miss 25 years going by? How did we get from 375 to 400?
I kept looking at you saying, hey, he'll get this.
375 for Topsfield.
Yeah.
400 for the country.
But
That's
it's
250.
Yeah.
And you get that?
250. 250. Did I say 400?
Yes.
You did.
I was very confused.
I was like, wow, he's really planning ahead.
I swear I went to history class as a kid. No, sorry, 250. We did
Bicycling quadrant.
So 250.
Get used to it. You're gonna be so sick of that word.
I need more Botox.
So we're gonna regroup about the 250.
All right.
And then we are anticipating 10 School Ave applications to come in shortly. There's been a lot of preliminary conversations before the applications come in, which is
Applications for,
the restaurant application for 10 School Ave, the old highway garage.
business application.
Special permit applications, conservation, and Board of Health.
Okay.
I think they're on the agenda for ZBA end of this month.
Sounds right. I think they got in before the end of the calendar year, which was necessary to get on the end of, for this month's meeting.
And our new members are now on the ZBA, right?
They are. I have reached out to the member who is moved about formally resignations and then taking the next steps associated. Gregor Smith, who's been an amazing member of our community and on the board, and working through those technical logistics. And then I'll just say, go Patriots! Great win last night. See y'all next week.
I think you'll see us in 2 days, won't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's late. Give the guy a break.
With respect to the Patriots.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, they won 400 to something.
I don't know, I reprogrammed my lights in the front yard to Patriot lights, so if anyone goes by.
You should have put that in your
My select
your
board, well, he
select
took
board
it back.
updates.
Yeah, I'm gonna add a select board update.
I'm not adding.
Now, if you lived in
Programmable
Great,
lights.
if you lived in Great Hill, you'd be in violation of the rules.
Yeah, well, this is why I don't live in Great Hill. I put those lights in my tree and I will never take them down until the tree is dead. So that thing will
And
just
he
stay
will-
That's a
there.
bad omen.
And he will continue to
that.
tell people about how happy he is.
I just love it. You just keep changing the lights for year round.
All right, we've got some things in correspondence, some
One I
cable.
don't understand. There's a cable thing in there. They're now
He
gonna
really
charge
does
you
read them all.
sales tax for your cable box. Taking every last dime from you.
Yeah, I think we've got our first applicant for the next cable advisory committee, someone who cares.
Yeah, no.
And also there was another thank you for the fire department for their work. And hang on, I haven't checked in the last hour or two. They seem to get them.
No, you're good.
No, I'm good. Okay. So with that, I'll entertain any other motions that may come
Motion
before the
to
board.
adjourn.
Wow. Exactly on top.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion?
I think we
Hearing
should
none.
adjourn.
Hearing no more discussion on the motion.
Useful discussion.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned at 9:01.